Yeah. Okay. Hello, my name is George Moore, owner of Moore's Sewing Center in Southern California, and we are ready to begin our long arm quilting exploration. Now, the quilting industry has blossomed in the last 15, 20 years, and I've been seeing the changes in different quilting machines, but there's always been one company that's been on the forefront. In fact, they are the largest manufacturer of quilting systems, and that is the Handy Quilter Company. And so why we're doing this virtual event is it's in conjunction with a truckload or a truck event where we have two Handy Quilter educators here, as well as 12 machines that are set up so that people starting tomorrow are going to discover long arms for themselves. But the virtual event, we want to be able to bring that to you as well. So, but first of all, I want to introduce our two Handy Quilter educators. And so what we're going to do is we're going to switch cameras here shortly and go ahead and do that here. So we have Mary Yoder and we have Chris Souza, and both of them are from the Handy Quilter Company, and they both are experts at quilting. And then what I want to do is see if we can give you a shot of our showroom here. We're going to turn around here. So we've got all these different quilt frames set up. We're not going to show you all of them here, but there's 12 of them, and people are going to discover long arms for themselves. So how are we going to bring this to you? Okay, so let's go ahead and let me talk about this here. Well, one of the things about the long arm event are special prices. And so by the way, you look at the link in the description, you can click to a special page we have, and any accessories for the Handy Quilter, notions and accessories, are 20% off. And actually, it will automatically give you a coupon code that will populate at checkout. And there's free shipping on any of our products, as long as it's $49 or higher. And you can click on the link or call us at 1-800-865-9664 for more information. Now, we also have specials on machines that I'm going to go over toward the end. Don't miss out. There's some buys here that you cannot match nationwide, I guarantee. But we also promised a prize, okay? So we are actually giving away a Handy Quilter Stitch Model 510 machine. This is a machine that has a value of $1,495. And this can be given away to one lucky person. And how can you qualify? If you like, share, or comment. And you can do it as many times as you want during this presentation, or even after it keeps showing, because we're going to leave it up there for a while. And you potentially could win this amazing machine that has a value close to $1,500. So why do I need a long arm quilting system? There's a lot of reasons, but there's one main reason. The one main reason is so you can get rid of the UFOs. Now, we all have UFOs, and UFOs, what a UFO is, it is an unfinished object. So we're going to look at this here. So this is a quilt top, and this quilt top is beautiful, and a person spent a lot of time making it. It's not just the stitching, it's the planning, it's the cutting of the fabric, it's the shopping of the fabric. You love that. It's also the thought that you put through making this, because usually quilters make things for other people. But this is unfinished. And this is the problem with a lot of people, that they're piecers, they're not quilters. They piece things together, and at this point, they may have tried with a traditional machine. I see people putting this on the floor with batting and a bazillion pins to hold it together, and then you rustle it through your sewing machine to try to make it. It doesn't work well, and if it doesn't work well, you don't like it, and you don't try it again. But with a long arm quilting machine, you can take something that's like this and take it to the next level. In fact, this quilt behind me, I want to zoom in on this here. This actually, I love the fabric panels of this here. The patterns reminds me of the coat of many colors. But when you look close, you have this quilting, this automated quilting done throughout it. And it just brings to life a different dimension to the quilt. And so that's just one aspect of what long arm quilting machine can do for you. But it's the ease of operation, and we're going to go through that here. So let's go on to the next screen here. So yeah, we can get rid of the UFOs, and you get my idea on that. But what are we going to explore today? See, I wanted to bring this to you virtually. What's going to happen at our event live tomorrow, we're going to go over that today. And so we're going to go over the different types of quilting frames. And so one thing I will tell you, a lot of people have a quilting frame from another machine, and they call me, I want to put a machine on this quilting frame. The problem is that quilting frame is not made for the machine. You want to have a quilting frame that's made by the manufacturer. It truly makes a difference, and Handy Quilter makes the best frames, and I'm going to go over the different frames. And they also, all their machines have two different types of stitch regulation. See, stitch regulator makes it so that when you're moving that machine, the stitches are consistent. If you've ever tried free motion on a regular machine that doesn't have stitch regulator, it's a lot more difficult. I'm going to show you ruler work, which is really cool what you can do on these machines. We have all different types of accessory feet we're going to show, as well as automation. And so let's start the exploration, all right? So what I'm going to start with, the Handy Quilter Moxie. This came out last year, and this machine had broke the price barrier of a quality machine. I will tell you about Handy Quilter. It's Handy Quilter. They make a machine that works. And I've worked with a lot of different machines, and especially in the economical price range, there's more problems than what's worth. This machine has 15 inches of throat space, and it moves so freely. It moves so freely on this here. And the frame, I'm just going to walk across the frame here, is an 8-foot, they call it the loft frame. And when you look at this frame, it's steel construction, but it's also adjustable. The height's adjustable, so you can actually make it where you can sit to it or up, where you stand. It also has designed where you have more of a clear view option. In fact, let's bring in a closer look to this here. So this is in the clear view option, and this is a better way to work with like rulers. In fact, I have a ruler base underneath there. We're going to talk about that in a second. But also, when we look at the back of this frame, this is something that's characteristic of all the Handy Quilter quilting frames. It has what's called a neutral bar or idler bar. And what that means is that the fabric builds up here, not against the bed of the machine. So you're not having to adjust. A lot of your frames, you have to constantly adjust them as this builds up here. So that's wonderful. Now, on this machine, you have very ergonomically controlled handles, but I want to have you zoom in on the screen here. And I'm going to try to do this where I'm not in. Normally, you don't quilt while you have a camera on you here, okay? So this is a display screen that gives you all the controls of it here. And so what I'm going to do is I can show you here. You can go through the different functions. So you got needle up and down. You've got the lighting. You even have a clock so you can time yourself. All different types of things. And let's go to the stitch regulator, okay? So with this here, so you have 3 different types of stitch regulations. The stitch regulation, remember, is keeping that stitch length consistent. There's precise, there's precise, there's manual, and there's cruise, okay? We're going to go ahead and work with the precise, okay? Because the precise, actually, let's go ahead and get this started here. Okay, so the precise here, as you see on the screen, you've got needle up and down. I have an up position. I've got 12 stitches per inch, okay? And what I like about this is that now let's go ahead and look at the bed of the machine here. I'm going to go just right in this area right here. There we go. And so with this here, this stitch regulator, when I press go, it regulates and moves when I move it. So see how it stops? Now that's, and you see I'm only using one hand here. And I'm just doodling. But this regulator, because it stops and starts, works really good working with ruler work. Okay, I'm going to turn this off here. Okay. Now, what I have on here I've installed, they call it a ruler base. It's a platform here that gives it a flat surface. And I've put on their sure foot. That's an optional foot. Here's their regular foot right there. See the depth there, how much taller that is? Well, the reason I have the sure foot on there is I want to do ruler work. It does come with an open toe foot as well, okay? And so what we have here is I'm going to go over here. Mary, you have a couple quilts you've done with the ruler work. Can you describe a little bit what you did with that?
Yes, so some of the
We're
work,
going to zoom in on the quilt there.
some of the work that I did was just with the straight ruler. So here's some designs that were done with the straight edge, and here are some with the curve. So here I did some clamshells using, and you can see how nice and rounded these are since I did use a ruler. And then here is some more, just some nice designs with just a straight edge.
So you can truly do some things that look like automation.
Yes.
On with rulers. Now, I know that we have, let's have a sample here that you're going to show us. Okay. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to swing this down here and get out of the way here and let you show
So
how
now
the
by
ruler.
using this ruler, I'll get nice, precise curves.
See, can we? You know what? I set it on a different setting for
What
you.
did you set it on?
It's my mistake. Did I do that? Okay. I think I pressed it here. Here we go. We're going to
Okay, all right.
restart. So this is why we're doing live presentations here. Here we go. Now,
All right.
Now we can start. Let's see. There we
All
go.
right, so here we go. So,
So you see that
Scoop.
stopped when she
now I
stopped,
can-
and you're following those rulers.
So it's pausing, and then I can just move my ruler and do the next one. So you can see I'm getting really nice curves.
Okay. So let's take a closer look at this here. So we're going to zoom in on there. So you can see, I don't know if you can see this here, these clamshells, that's all done with one ruler. So all this work right here. That's quite amazing. So there's a lot, and there's so many different rulers out there that you can truly, I mean, you can expand what you can do with a quilting machine. What I like about it is that it's not up to you to be as, because a lot of people are very artistic and they can do it freeform. I can't. I can work with rulers though, and so I can truly create some amazing things with this here. Thanks, Mary. So the Moxie here, this is the loft frame. This is the loft quilting frame. It's an 8-foot frame. You have an option for a 10-foot, so you can add a 2-foot extension to it. But also, you can put it on what's called the little foot frame, which we're going to talk about next. The little foot is a 5-foot frame that is a clamp style frame. So what we have here is over on this side right here. Okay, so first of all, this is a clamping frame. Okay, the clamping frame, it's like a big embroidery hoop. So what I like about this is that it's not limited by the size. So you can see the fabric can go over the sides here. And so what this means is that in a 5-foot area, you can actually quilt a king-size quilt because you're just moving it to the area and clamping it. So again, the Moxie can be put on this, but right here we have the Simply 16, okay? Where the Moxie is a 15-inch opening, this is a 16-inch opening. The stitches per minute.
1,800.
1,800 on both of these, okay? So they 1,800, and they both have the different regulation systems, and we're going to go over that here. So again, back to this frame here, what happens is that you simply just move this out, you would move your quilt, reposition it to where you want it, and then go ahead and clamp it down again. So this is a frame that has its value where you don't have space, but also some people like this because you actually can move it to the area and quilt. Now, what we're going to do here, let's switch places here, Chris. So one of the things that's different about this is the screen. And so what I want to do is have Chris spend a little time on what this control. This is a touch screen where the Moxie had the display screen. So why don't you show the different features, Chris?
So what we have on this screen is we have the ability for a touch screen, which is nice because you're not having to cycle through, but we can change our mode from manual to regulated. You can also have your needle up, down, just from here. Your stitches per inch can be changed just right here, just by plus or minus. You also have precision or cruise in stitch regulation. Now the difference between the precision and the cruise is precision only stitches when you are moving the machine. With cruise, it jogs in place like an idle. It comes in real handy when you're doing things like up to a point in a corner. Okay. So it ties in that extra point.
Okay, all right. So for example, stippling, would you use cruise?
You know, I would use cruise anytime I'm working with free motion, anytime I'm doing sometimes ruler work, or if I'm doing something that has points.
Okay, all right. So what we have here, let's look at this quilt here. Okay, this is a this is a traditional stippling. And stippling, the benefit of what your really goal of stippling, and correct me if I'm wrong, which a lot of people do, is you really want to try not to cross over the path. Okay, you know, everything has to, and you're trying to keep a consistent spacing between the different paths. Is that correct?
Correct, and you want to work in a serpentine motion. So keeping that relative spacing works out really well for you, because when you do that, it gives more of a feel.
Okay. All right, so what we have on this machine, first of all, let's look to the bed of the machine here. This is the regular foot we have on here. Okay, so you can see this here, and I'm going to have Chris show some stippling here shortly. But what we have on here is one of 3 of the echo feet. And so maybe you can describe what those, how those are useful for, and then maybe you can do a little stippling with it.
Sure. What we have with the echo feet is we've got 3 different sizes. So we have a 3/8, we have the 1/2 inch, and we also have a 3/4. That helps you keep your relative distance away from your stitches, or if you're going around an applique or things like that. The reason we don't have one that says 1/4 inch is because our normal hopping foot is a 1/4 inch from the needle to the edge of the hopping foot. So when you're working with this, if you're going to do some stippling,
Can we come around this way?
I'm just going to pull my thread up.
There you go.
Of course, the technical difficulties.
This is a live event.
Yep, and it was just cut too short.
What's nice about the frames, you can get into the bobbin case when the frames, everything's threaded already.
There we go.
Okay.
I've pulled my thread up. Now when I press the start button, it's going to stitch in place. Now I still have stitch regulation at 12 stitches an inch, but it will jog in place for me.
So it's like, it's an idle. It's actually
Correct.
always stitching.
So if I don't want to cross anything closer, having that echo foot allows me to keep the same spacing going around. And that's what helps, because sometimes that's the place where we get into the most trouble.
Sure.
We may cross in too close.
Okay, all right. Now, another thing I've heard about with the cruise is when you come to the end of a point with the precise, what happens is that sometimes you can lose that point when you turn it.
Correct, if it's in between that stitch. Whereas with this, if I came up to a point, I let it jog into place just for a second, and it is able to tie that stitch in for me.
All right, and you can control the amount of that.
Correct, I can go up or down speed. So that was at 475. So if I take it down to 175,
Okay.
You can see the difference.
Okay, all right. Now let's take an overall view of this machine here. So again, this is on the Littlefoot frame, but you can also put this machine on the loft frame, the same frame that the Moxie is on, with a 8-foot or 10-foot option. But also they have a Studio 2 frame, which gives you a 10 or 12-foot option. So this is very versatile. Probably one of the most versatile models that they have in their lineup here. So now I'm going to go over to the next model up in the line. So what we have here is we have the Handy Quilter Amara. The Amara has 20 inches of space, and it also has the control of the handlebars. I love the way you can maneuver the handlebars. You can pull them out, you can move them up, you can control them down. It also has a screen that is very intuitive. The screen is actually, I'm going to talk about the screen after I talk a little bit about the Studio 2 frame. Now this is obviously a very small frame. We have this for a display purpose. The Studio 2 comes in a 10-foot or 12-foot option. And what we have with this here is we have a little more rugged frame system than the loft frame. And it also has a very unique design. You can control this so that it actually will have a clear view or standard view of this here. And then I can actually open this up. I have what's called a pole cradle. And see, because sometimes you want to get into your batting and smooth out the batting. I like the way that works out here. And then these have a wonderful cog design. You see how easy that loads in. And the cogs are very, very secure on this here. And you've got a hand wheel in the back here where you can roll the whole thing up. Again, the same design where you have your neutral bar or idler bar here, so your fabric is built up here. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to show the screen, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the lights because it has beautiful lighting, but our cameras don't like the lights when we do it. So now we're turning off the lights. Now my camera is going to look a lot better. But what I want to do is if we can look at the screen, okay, so we're going to come around. I want you to see the screen. Okay, we're going to zoom in on the screen here because this is really quite intuitive. Okay, first of all, I love this feature. It is a virtual hand wheel, and so that allows me, I don't have to reach all the way back here to turn the hand wheel. This actually, we look at this here, I'm moving the needle up and down. I can control the needle up and down, but this has it where I can just simply touch this and I can raise or lower the needle. Okay, I also like on the screen, you have your control of your needle up and down right here. Your tension, see the problem with a lot of your quilting frames is that you don't have a reference to the tension. You're having to do it by feel. Well, this actually does have a reference to the tension, and so when I turn my tension, I see a reference to the change in the tension. And so the benefit there is that I'm not afraid of manipulating my tension to get a different result because you can always go home. That shows the tie-off. So you can actually set this to do a tie-off and how many of them. In fact, let's go to my settings here. Right there, okay? And this has it where I have control of my tie-offs, and I can have it where maybe I don't want it to tie off in 4 times. I maybe want 2 or 3. I also have the ability to, it has what's called a low bobbin estimator, so I can actually have it wind a bobbin. It memorizes how many stitches it took to finish a full bobbin, and then now it kind of gives you a warning when you need to put a new bobbin in there. But this is a cool thing right here, and this is the ability, so on the handles, and I want you, if you can pull back a little bit on the view, I want you to see the handlebars here. What we have here, we've got these little symbols right here. Okay, well those symbols are controls. You've got a needle up and down, you've got speed, regulation, but then you have these 2 symbols. So now if we go to the screen again, what I can do is I can set the star or the diamond to have different functions. Like I can have start and stop, be the diamond, needle up and down. I can increase or decrease or use a tie off, and same with this right here. So you can set those to be the way you want it. So it really is a very versatile system here. And so then let's go ahead and go back home right here. And let's go to information. So information, first of all, there's a lot of information on the type of needle to use with the type of thread. It also has information on step-by-step threading. I mean, this is really a great function for you when you are just beginning. So this is a very advanced system that's put on this model, as well as there is a Forte model, which is 24 inches, which we're going to talk about that later here. So what I'm going to do here is now let's bring in Mary, and Mary's going to talk about what we have here. If we zoom back, we've got this yarn because we have attached the couching foot. So tell us about the couching foot, Mary.
So the couching feet, they come in 3 different sizes, and I actually have the largest one on the machine because of the size of my yarn. And when you're working with these, you want to choose the smallest one that will work with the yarn. If I was using the smaller yarn, I have one for that. And I can work with this freehand, or this was using the Pro Stitcher. And
we're going to be talking about the Pro Stitcher.
Yes, so that was done just using the Pro Stitcher. So I just have this one on a little ball, and as I'm sewing, I'm not even touching the yarn. I'm just going in and I'm just doing some stitching. It's very, very easy.
That's so cool.
It's really neat. And you can see it looks like I put a lot of work into it.
Huh. Now what we can't see, because the yarn's in there, we can't see the little laser pinpointer. We're going to point that out on another machine.
Yeah, and you can't even tell that I used orange thread.
No, that's what's amazing.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, change your thread.
Thanks, Mary. Okay, so now we're going to come down to
things.
the top of the line, and we'll switch places here. So Chris, you're going to come in and help me with this here.
Sure, be my pleasure.
So first of all, what I will say is that, which camera, am I looking at you? Okay. When I first saw the Infinity 26, I was just blown away. And it was actually the whole reason why I brought in Candy Quilters Align, because this is the most advanced quilting system out there. And we're going to talk about the machine, but Chris, tell us a little bit about the Gallery 2 frame.
Gallery 2 frame is like the big brother to the Studio 2. It's got larger poles. It is a sturdier frame that they use for the heavier machines, like the Forte and the Infinity. They need that extra stability.
Right. And this has it's a 10, 12, but also you can even get an option for 14.
You can now go to a 14-foot frame, which is for people like me that do large king-size quilts.
Okay.
That 14-foot frame comes in handy.
Now you told me you own 2 of these.
2 of these.
2 of these machines, okay. Why not? Because you love it so much.
They're great machines.
Yeah, yeah.
I've run up to 4 machines at a time before.
The thing that I was most impressed with it is that this actually has like a counterbalance piston in it. Okay?
Correct. It's a one-off machine.
Okay.
They didn't make another one like this.
Yeah, and so that, even though it's a big machine, there's very little vibration. It's very smooth.
little.
Okay.
With the longer shafts, they ended up changing that so it would have less vibration, and it's smooth, very smooth to run on.
So what we want to do is we're going to bring up the screen on this on our camera, and then why don't you switch places with me here and give them a tour of how the screen works, and then Pro Stitcher.
Okay, so the screen, when you have Pro Stitcher, whether it's on the Infinity, the Forte, or the Amara, when you have a Pro Stitcher, your information screen, your normal screen that would be like the one you saw on the Amara, comes up by this button right here, and this gives us all our controls that we normally would have. But we also have some special things on this one where we have a camera underneath. So if you touch that button right there, this has a camera underneath, so you can check your stitching using this camera. You're not climbing underneath anymore. So that comes in real handy. You also have a special set of lights on this, which are the UV lights. So by turning off those lights, I can actually turn on UV lights. So if I'm working with black on black, white on white, tone on tone, so that comes in real handy. We also have the same abilities with the programmable buttons, but we also have the difference where we can actually set these for channel lock also. We can set it for camera front and back display. We can set our tension up and down because the Infinity also has electronic tension. And the electronic tension is kind of a game changer on this. Also has the back handles that come with it. So there's quite a few things on here. You've got the ability to turn your laser on and off. You do have your alarms here, your tie-offs, and your tensions. You can also have 3 preset tensions. Being that it's an electronic tension, you can set them for a 3-button preset basically, so it will automatically dial into those numbers.
Now, Chris, the screen you're showing, if you bring that back up again,
Sorry.
that if a person doesn't have Pro Stitcher on their Infinity, it has a screen like I was showing on the Amara.
Correct. It has a screen that is this size right here.
Okay.
So that would be the...
And when we put Pro Stitcher on, let's say, the Amara, it looks just like this.
Exactly like this.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. Okay, go on.
So once I go back, I can just go to my information button, and we'll also do the exact same thing that we have over there, which will tell me my threading. So I can do, if I forget how to thread my machine, it goes through place by place. I also have my needles and my suggested size of needle for the thread sizes. And then I could go back to my home screen. And this one's the same as the other one, where we have the ability to do manual regulated, precision or cruise. We can set our stitches per inch, our tie-offs. This also has a thread cutter. So that's another thing that makes it really different. I can actually cut my bobbin thread just with the press of a button.
Okay. Now, let's go over the Pro Stitcher and see if
Okay.
you could show them what that does.
So Pro Stitcher is the robotic side of the machine. With Pro Stitcher, you have the ability to bring in a computer-aided design, basically, and it will stitch it for you. We've got one on here right now where I've done the piano keys around, and we're going to put in a feather block into the center. And it's so simple to do just by lining things up with the laser and pressing a button. At this point, we're all set, and it will do it all for me. All I have to do is hold onto the thread and press a button.
So can you turn the light down so the camera, I think the camera will pick it up
Sure.
better.
Let me just go into my control screen.
Normally we like a lot of light, but when we're filming,
Do you want me to turn them all off?
yeah.
One push of a button and all my lights are off.
Is that better? Yep. all right,
Okay.
very good.
So now I brought in a design, and it was so simple because this block design and this frame design is part of Pro Stitcher. So all I have to do is go to my Pro Stitcher button and hit run and proceed. And it will automatically pull up my thread for me. So I'm holding on to the thread, and now I hit resume, and it is going to start stitching this design. And it's going to do it all for me.
And I see that it paused. You have
It
set
paused.
Yeah.
So I've got this set at pause delay. What pause delay is it will stitch for a couple of seconds or a couple of inches, depending on what I have it set for. And what that does, it allows me to cut my thread without playing scissor chicken with the machine.
Okay. Very good.
So if I hit resume, it is ready to go.
Now this machine can go up to 3,100 stitches per minute.
Correct.
You don't ever run it at that, do you?
No, I tend not to run my machines at 3,100 stitches a minute.
But you can, okay? Now let's go ahead and pause that.
I'm gonna
and
pause
I think we have a
this.
finished product under curtain number 1.
We do. And that's exactly how it's going to turn out. So what we've done is we've done the exact feather block. I'm going to cancel out of this because I can restart that at any time. And it put the feather block in the center for us.
Okay, can we zoom in on this here? Let's get another look here. That way they can see it. Where is it? Where
You
is
see
it?
it right here?
Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. And there's so many other features. I remember one of the things I usually show is I do my signature and it records it. It has a
Correct.
recording feature.
In Pro Stitcher, you can do a lot of things. You can do mark and record.
Yeah.
I can do that a lot. And a lot of times we saw how the couching worked on the Amara. A lot of times I will take and do a child's quilt. I will use my couching foot with the Pro Stitcher. I will write their name
Neat.
and then stitch it out in couching on their quilt.
Very cool.
So it is really a great item to have. And the Pro Stitcher is, without a doubt, in my opinion, the easiest program to run out of all of the ones, because I've had the opportunity to work on all of them.
Well, the other thing, it's gear driven. That's a
is.
huge advantage, because one of the things is that the others out there that are belt driven, they always have a drag. This, you can actually disengage the motors, and for free motion, it's effortless.
Correct, and that's one of the joys of this. You can go back and forth between the two without any issues whatsoever. So you can go back and forth, do free motion, go back to Pro Stitcher, stitch out a design, go back to free motion, and it's just with a press of a button. It is without a doubt, and like I said, one of the greatest programs I've had the opportunity to work with.
Now, I'm going to bring Mary over here. I want you to describe this sample. This is one of the best samples I've seen, because this looks like an embroidery machine, but here, you come in here, but that's done on Pro Stitcher, isn't it?
Yes, so this was an embroidery design that I resized, and I stitched it on my long arm, and then after I sewed the embroidery design, I then added batting and backing, and I quilted it.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to turn her mic back on, and she can
Oops.
talk about it. Oops. So go ahead.
Okay, so what I did is this is an embroidery design, so it was much smaller, so I had to resize it, and then I sewed it on the long arm, and then after I did that, I put backing on it, and I finished quilting it on my long arm.
So did you have to convert it, or the Pro Stitcher was able to?
Using the Pro Stitcher Designer
Designer,
software
which
that
comes
now
with it.
comes with it,
Yes.
and it's wonderful. I love the Designer software. All I do was open it up and then convert it.
So
Very
just
simple.
think of all the people who have embroidery designs that they can do this with. This is like having a 12-foot
It's
embroidery
a big
hoop.
embroidery machine. Yep.
So
yep.
cool. Well, thank you. Now I want to go to the final machine, and the final machine is different than the others. It is called a sit-down machine. And this is the Capri. Now the Capri is a sit-down for obvious reasons. I'm sitting down. It's not, you're not putting your fabric on a frame. You are actually moving the fabric like a traditional free motion. There's a couple advantages of this, but it's based on your need. Sometimes you just don't have room, okay? Others, they want to do more block quilting, or they want to do more artistic quilting, where they're focusing right here. But the problem has been, there hasn't really been a good stitch regulating system. In the past, they have had them where you actually held a device and you worked with it, but that was not consistent. This now has a stitch regulator that's run with little sensors right here in the bed of the table. And by the way, this table, you can actually get accessory leaves on the side to make it bigger. You can get a drawer with it. But what I want to do here is the screen is very similar to others, okay? And so if we can zoom in on the screen here, and you let me know when we're there. Okay, so you have the stitch regulated, the cruise and the precise. You've got the needle up and down, the stitches per inch. We even got the bobbin estimator. But it has a foot pedal, so I can use it as a foot pedal, but I usually don't. What I do is I press go. And this right here is such a good regulator. And see, it's adjusting and speeding up for me. See if I can make a flower here. See, free motion is just like doodling, but what happens is I don't have to pay attention to my speed now, okay? And what this does is it, you can see my little flower, I don't know if you can see it here, but all those stitches are consistent because of the stitch regulator. And so we now have a very advanced regulating system. It's the Handy Quilter Capri on the inside table here. And so this is another option for the quilter that doesn't have room or is more, they like working with the traditional free motion, okay? So now let's go back to the front here. I'm gonna go over some of the specials we have. Well, there is our exploration, but let me go over some details on each one of the machines. So first of all, the Handy Quilter Moxie, that was the very first machine I showed you. 15 inches of throat space. It can go 1,800 stitches per minute, but stitch regulation through that speed. The handlebars are very ergonomic, and it has Handy Quilter's 2 modes of stitch regulation, both the precise, which is what we used with the ruler work, and the cruise, which is what's used for the stippling or working with points and things like that. You have control on both of them. You also, comes with the loft frame in the 8-foot configuration, but you can add an extra 2 feet adapter to make it 10 feet. Or you can get it on the 5-foot little foot frame. So you have some versatility with that. What's really cool is they have an app by the Built Company that will give you complete step-by-step instructions on how to assemble this. I've sold this system nationwide, and people are able to assemble it so easily because of this here. It's animated, and it walks you through, even has voice commands that will tell you what to do step by step, and you can pause it. So it's really a great app, and that's a free app that comes with it. So the price on this machine, the Moxie with the loft frame, is $49.95. 0% financing is available, and there's free shipping across the nation. If you're in Alaska or Hawaii, we will ship to you, but it's slightly extra. But we have a bonus because this is the event. And so the bonus is you will actually get a free overhead highlight up to 10 feet based on the frame you order. And that's a $495 value, and that's free because of the event. And so you can give us a call at 1-800-865-9664, or go ahead and order it on the link in the description. You'll go right to our website, and that way you can get that here. But I want to make an announcement about this because there's so many people that have bought the Moxie. It's been our #1 selling long arm machine because it's a very affordable long arm system, but high quality. But the #1 question is that, will there be automation? Well, we showed you Pro Stitcher, okay? But there's coming out, it's going to be in August, and we're taking pre-orders, Pro Stitcher Lite, which is designed to work with the Moxie or the Simply 16 on the loft frame. And so for anybody who's bought the Pro Stitcher or bought the Moxie, you can now pre-order this here. And it's at a special buy of $59.95 for automation. That is just amazing. And so give us a call on that, 1-800-865-9664. Now let's talk about the Simply. The Simply 16 is a 16-inch throat. It has the same motor speed as the Moxie. You've got the front handlebars that are very ergonomic, and it has the touch screen. You also have the 2 modes of the stitch regulation, and it comes with the little foot frame as standard. But you can put it on another frame as well. You can put it on the loft frame in an 8 or 10 foot configuration, or the upper model Studio 2 frame in a 10 or a 12 foot option. You also can add Pro Stitcher, the full-fledged Pro Stitcher on it, if you go on the bigger frames. And the Pro Stitch Lite will also be available in August, and that would be put on the loft frame. Now, I will tell you this, I decided not to disclose my pricing on this virtual event, because then I was limited to have the price that everybody else has out there. Go on every website, they're all the same. But mine's better, but you have to call me about it. Okay, so I have a special pricing that's better than the internet pricing. You're going to call me at 1-800-865-9664. Leave a message, and I'll either myself or one of my staff members will call you and discuss the different options. But that's the benefit of this here, is that this is an event, and I guarantee you the better prices than what's on the internet. And so we have free shipping as well, and then we also have 0% financing. But we also have extra bonuses if you don't finance. Okay, so besides that, you have the capability with even this amazing price that I'm going to tell you if you call me. We're going to give up to $997 in value of bonus accessories, including the highlight, but also other bonuses based on if you finance or not. And so this is the best time to buy this here. So give us a call at 1-800-865-9664. Now, we have the Amara and we have the Forte. Now, the Amara I showed you, but the Forte looks the same screen, but it's 24 inches where the Amara was 20. Both of them have the high-speed 2,500 stitches per minute motor and Quiltmaster servo-controlled stitch regulation, which is a more advanced stitch regulation because it goes faster. It can control the stitches even faster. And you saw how that screen works here. I mean, it's very user-friendly, and you have all the controls right from the screen. I love that virtual hand wheel, and so that way I don't have to reach all the way to the end to control my needle up and down. I also have the tension that is easy set tension, so I can control the tension and it gives me a reference to it. And then those handles, I can adjust the handles in all different positions, and I can control the buttons to do different functions. And it does have that laser pointer. Right? We couldn't see it with the couching, but it does have that, which is very useful to see exactly where the needle is going to drop. So the Forte comes with the Gallery 2 frame, okay, and that's the frame that's larger. It comes in a 10 or 12 foot size, or you can get an extension to a 14 foot. And then the Amara comes in the Studio 2 frame, which is a 10 or 12, or you can put it on the little foot. Okay. And both of them have the option of Pro Stitcher. So again, prices that are better than what you can find on the internet, guaranteed. We have free shipping. We have 0% financing. We've got bonuses if you don't finance. You give us a call at 1-800-865-9664. And with this, the bonuses on this here potentially is up to $1,600 in bonus product here. So it is the time to buy one of these models here. 1-800-865-9664 and leave a message and we'll get back to you. And then last but not least, the Infinity 26, the flagship top of the line in the industry. 26 inches of space, very brightly lit area, the lighting beautiful, 3,100 stitches per minute on the motor, easy touch tension that are actually electronically controlled, and you can store presets so you can have it for different settings. The on-screen hand wheel, the Synergy stitch regulation is actually even more precise than the other models. 5 different basing stitch options, and the list goes on. And it comes with that Gallery 2 frame, which is a 10 or 12 foot frame with the 14 foot option. So we showed the camera. It also has the thread break sensor. It has a bobbin estimator, a bobbin thread cutter, the laser, so many features. And then you have the option for the Pro Stitcher as well. So again, give us a call on this here for the best price available. We have free shipping, 0% financing, and extra bonuses if you don't financing. And then we are also including up to $1,600 in bonus accessories and items for this here. So give us a call at 1-800-865-9664. Last but not least, the Handy Quilter Capri, which is the sit-down model, 18 inches of space. It's got that advanced color screen, and with the inside table, it has that built-in stitch regulator. And this right here, again, better price than what you can see on the internet, free shipping, 0% financing, and bonus items. Potentially with this here, you can get bonuses up to $854 included with here. So give us a call, 1-800-865-9664. I hope you enjoyed our long arm exploration. Don't forget to give us a call here. And don't forget that a long arm machine just expands your horizon. You've made all those quilt tops, those UFOs. Now you need to take them on to completion. And if you give us a call, we'll spend time talking with you and discovering what your needs are here. So 1-800-865-9664 or email me at moreso@aol.com.